You're tuned in to a Grown Folks production. In the mix with the commish, Nate.
And just like that, welcome to Press Pass Live. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday, day after Easter. I hope that you are all having a wonderful start to the rest of your week. Welcome in. I am your host, the commish, Nate, owner of the New Orleans Saints, which no one cares about because we're absolutely terrible, but I am flying absolutely solo today. What's up, Kev? Good to see you, my buddy. Probably won't see Kevin the rest of the week, right, Kev? Booty's gone, Dad's gone. You hopped out of the chat last night, didn't even say goodbye. We missed you, Kev. Just joking, messing with Kev. Welcome in. Flying solo, Mr. Maniac is traveling today, so we're going to jump right into this and have a good time. What's up, Maniac? There he is. Appreciate you, Mr. Maniac, showing up. And stay safe out there, buddy, especially as you travel. Okay, you're going to hear a lot of me, so we're going to make this quick, easy, fast, get off to the rest of my day. Let's see if we can have a good time. Let's take a look at week number 11. Oh, yeah. Sorry I missed you last week. Just way too much going on with time off. And I was traveling last Monday, got back, had time off, had to get ready for Easter, had family here. If you watched any of my OMFL streams, and so it's a lot going on. But it doesn't matter. Let's jump right into it. Week number 11 had some really good matchups. Mr. Dwayne has been flexing on folks here in the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. My guy is just quietly making a statement that the Cowboys are going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with. Tampa Bay and Cincinnati, a great game there, 52-42, no defense. But anytime you play Tampa Bay, you're going to have to outscore him because you're not going to contain him. The guy's just going to put up tons of points. The Giants with a big victory. They played 3 different times, though. That sucks. 30-27 there. Pittsburgh with a big victory over Tennessee. Detroit with a good victory over Toronto. It looks like the Chargers. I don't know why it says SDGs. Anyway, I know why, but it just messes with me. San Diego with a big win over the Rams. Buffalo falls to Kansas City 33-27. We'll talk about them Chiefs in just a little bit. Miami with a 34-28 victory over the Jets. We're going to talk about Miami because that was a statement victory. But the game that I really want to go ahead and unpack is the Minnesota Vikings with a 27-20 victory over the Green Bay Packers. These are teams we don't get to talk a whole lot about, so why not just go ahead and talk about them now? Oh, yeah, you were definitely muted. We were just like, bye, Kev. I was surprised nobody gave up their spot. I hadn't played all weekend, so I was like, I really want to play. But anyway, I'll be around probably tonight and the rest of the week. It's going to be a pretty slow, normal week, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, back to what we're talking about here. 2 turnovers to the Green Bay Packers. Minnesota came out to a big lead here, 20-9. Green Bay was able to sort of fight their way back. It started in the second quarter, but they really took that into the second half, scoring 8 points in the third quarter and then 3 points in the fourth quarter. Time of possession, let's get out of the way here and look at the time of possession, 22-17. No penalty yards really to speak of. And, back over there. I want to get out of the way here. Sherrod has been playing outstanding football. He really has started to find his quarterback flurry, that is, with Sherrod coming over from the Las Vegas Raiders. 2 touchdowns on the game here against Green Bay. 2 interceptions, though, for Feldman, the second-year quarterback out of Mississippi State. Really has struggled this entire year. Almost no running game, but I think it was mainly because these teams didn't stick with it. Hall averaged 9.3 yards per carry. Massey, not a great game, but Dillon had a pretty decent game. Sort of stayed with the hot hand there at 4.2 yards per carry. Jefferson is an outstanding force for this new quarterback, Sherrod. And then looking at their sack and interception leaders, one for Thompson, Browning, and Baxter. Half a sack for a couple of guys. And then Oliver and Little each grabbing them an interception. A nice win there as the Vikings are trying to win that division. Tim's making it interesting. I don't know what to think of the Packers. He really had to hit the reset button on that roster. I'm looking for him to have a solid draft this offseason, come back next season, and have a really good season on his hands. What's up, Buccaneers? Yes, this is a league, the one that we're talking about. It's called the OMFL. OMFL is the world's longest and oldest. I always get tongue-tied here. It's towards the end of the day. Done a lot of talking. Anyway, world's longest and oldest online CFM, 22 years old. 2001 is when we started. What's up, Bill? Good to see you, bud. Not really the way it works, but if you go check the description, you can see about our entire community. If you're interested in some of our leagues, we can tell you how you can look at them. We play pretty differently, though. So if you're looking for just like no rules or light rules, probably not going to be the place for you. We have some leagues, though, that have very light rules. And so anyway, come check us out. You can see if there's a league or a community that's there for you. But we're a community of leagues with the OMFL, the one that we're doing this podcast about here, being the oldest one. Anyway, let me get back to what we're doing here. Week number 12, Commanders and Steelers. My guy Bill, I see you in chat. He's kind of hit a bit of a rough streak here towards the middle and later end of the season. He falls 35-13. Tampa Bay just barely squeaks out of New Orleans with a 24-21 victory. I'm telling you, Mr. Kevin, you drove me nuts that game. I thought I had you on the ropes. Game just would not give me any interception animations. I had you at least on 2, maybe 3 different calls where I was there. Game just refused to give it to me. What's up, Dakota? Miss having you around, or at least having you around on Press Pass Live. As my iWatch absolutely goes nuts and tries to record my voice here. Cincinnati with a big victory. The Jets with a big victory. Detroit with a big victory there as he tries to keep pace with the Minnesota Vikings. I want to talk about this game, so we'll come back to it. Miami with a victory over Toronto, a team that we don't get to talk a lot about. Atlanta with a massive victory. Buffalo hanging out there, getting a victory over the Denver Broncos, who have not had the season that they've wished that they had. Dallas with a 34-20 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then Carolina putting up tons of points here with a massive victory over the Baltimore Ravens, 41-35. But I want to come back up here and talk about this Toronto game. We're going to talk about the Dolphins a little later. They had to squeak out of this one with 8 points in the fourth quarter, the only points of the second half for them. Really pulling for Toronto. We have not seen them win consistently since Big Hurt has given up that team. Formerly the Chicago Bears, formerly to whatever team they were when they moved over wherever they, Ohio or wherever they were. Then they moved back to Chicago. Then they moved to Toronto. It's just crazy what this team has done. But this is a team that I'm hoping finds some momentum and begins to get some victories. But you know, one team that definitely has done it this entire season, that's the Miami Dolphins. No turnovers on the day, playing really good football. I want to say 100%, but that was actually Toronto. Look at the time of possession. They absolutely just had their way. What is interesting here is it wasn't their passing game that they're known for, but it was actually their run game that really shined in this one with 162 yards on the ground. Hitchison, not a great day for him, but you know what? He struggled. He had pressure in his face. He was still 84% completion percentage on the day. Rushing, this is where they shine. Hitchison, 39 yards. Achane, 72 yards. Harris, 29 yards. Couple touchdowns on the day from that entire group. Moore keeping the Toronto Mounties, I think I'm saying it right, kept them in the game with 5 receptions, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day. And then looking at the defense, this is really where these teams begin to both shine on this game at least. Cash with a sack and a half, Cooper with a sack, Phillips with a sack, Tart with a sack, Wagner with a sack. I wish I even had half of these sacks in one game, and only 1 interception from Kohu? I don't know how to say it, but you guys can figure it out. You're smart. Really good games there in week number 12. And then finally, look at week number 13 before we look ahead at 14, 15, and 16. I'm going to go ahead and talk about my game, but we'll come back to it. Washington with a nice victory. Toronto, again, finding some momentum, played a great game against somebody who just might be in my power rankings in Miami. Now he gets a big victory there against Green Bay. New England with a 38-31 victory over Houston. Philadelphia with a 34-31 victory over the Giants. Cincinnati with a victory there. Look at the points here in Buffalo. Chargers with a 41-39 victory against the Buffalo Bills. This game went on a little earlier today. Came down to a last-second field goal. What a great game between these two guys. 29-28 as San Francisco shows themselves on top. And then woo! I don't know what happened here, but somebody has upset the Dallas Cowboys. He has been flexing on absolutely everybody, 58-34. But let's get back up here, talk about my game against Minnesota. This just was a fun OMFL classic game. Sometimes games are not classic games because the owners, a.k.a. me, like we just are not up to snuff. But Fleur and I, we're sort of right there parallel to each other with our teams, how we're playing this Madden cycle. And this just was a fun back and forth game. Both teams just sort of trading punches. Turnovers pretty easy, even. Rushing yards pretty even. Passing yards pretty even. Just an evenly balanced game between these two. It came to a late turnover for the Saints. Looked like they had momentum going their way. Well, then they just turned it back over 3 plays later. Minnesota scores. Saints have to go on a long drive with a little over 3 minutes left. They get that drive, score the field goal, end up winning this one 27-24. Sherrod played absolutely great. Only 48% completion percentage, but they kept him pretty upright. Only 1 sack on the day. He threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception, which I got him on. A little user pick. They did a great job, though, harassing Anthony. He just was off all day, missing some wide open passes at only 53%. Rushing, though, Miller had a great day, 14 for 123 before getting hurt, missing the second half of this game. 2 touchdowns. We're able to get Rutledge kind of going, 7 for 37, but his running game was just outstanding all day. 76 and 43 from both of his guys, really gashing me with big plays. Justin Jefferson, it just felt like he was unguardable this game. 172 yards on the day, and then looking at his sack leaders, they were harassing me all day. Baxter and Kilgore. I got a half a sack a little early in that game. That was about it. Sign and Abraham each with an interception. And that is a look at where we are here at week number 13. We're going to look at 14, 15, 16 before tossing it over to Denver, doing some OMFL news. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands today. I'm talking about, this is why I need Maniac or Dakota or somebody, because I need to be able to take a breath. Get my my thoughts here under wraps. Oh, it's a sim. Well, there you go. Well, anyway, Toronto still got a big victory the following week. So I guess I just talked about a sim game. It's impossible to keep up with what is sim and what is not. I love how Denver just said B. I don't know what that means. B, A, C, D. I don't know. You figure it out. All right. Week number 14, looking ahead here, Seahawks and Cowboys. Sign me up for this one every day of the week and twice on Sundays. This is going to be a barn burner. Defensive coaches, but I got to give it to Dwayne. He is putting up tons of points offensively. Seahawks may need to keep kind of pace against what Dallas is able to do, but both of these guys are known for their defense. And Meek did a great job of holding a great offensive coach like D Money to only 24, 28 points, whatever it was this past week. That should be a really, really good game. Lions and Packers are going to be a pivotal game, especially in that division, to see who's going to be able to wrap that one up. Desperados need to keep pace in the wild card matchup. He's going to need a victory against the Jaguars, who've been sort of all over the place, like not having the season I thought Pepper would be having, but he's also had a couple of games where he's sort of hung in there and played some really good games. Falcons and Cardinals. Maniac is already going into this eyes wide open. Joker's going to be pissed off after that whooping he took from the Dallas Cowboys. He might be looking to take that out on the Falcons. Falcons need to keep pace in the wild card matchup here as he continues to try to push for a wild card spot there. Bills and Dolphins, that's going to be a fun one. Ravens and Bengals, Nipples versus Denbrew, sign me up. I want to watch that one. That's going to be a great game in week number 14. Looking ahead at week number 15, Desperados and Bills could be a pivotal matchup in that wild card race, that divisional race as we get towards the playoffs here with just a couple of weeks left. That could go a long way to deciding who's in and who might come up. Just a couple of plays or a couple of wins or losses short from that one. Ravens and Steelers, that could be a great matchup, especially for seeding. The Steelers have sort of played pretty consistent football here, especially here towards the second half of the season. Nipples and the Ravens had a couple of games get away from him. I'm looking for him to sort of make a statement, get some momentum on his side as he rolls into the playoffs, at least pushes for a playoff spot. Chiefs and Broncos, that could go a long ways. Chiefs and Mr. Luca's looking to pile a couple of victories there. Panthers and Buccaneers. Panthers have found something here in the second half of the season. Bird has really turned things around. Kevin, he's been right there putting up tons of points. Can the Panthers keep pace with them? Can the Buccaneers find some stops? That's going to be a matchup between two very key quarterbacks in this league. Seahawks and Chargers, where are the Seahawks looking after a tough loss against the 49ers at home? After this week, he's going to have the Dallas Cowboys. Now he's coming in here to the Chargers, man. That's murderer's row there. You got D-Money, you got D-Wayne, and now you're going to play Black Cats. It's just going to be a tough stretch of games right there. And then Rams and 49ers. The 49ers look to just kind of coast into the playoffs here. And then finally look at week number 16 and some possible pivotal games here. And this one, Commanders and Falcons, we'll have to see where both of these teams are. But by the time we get to this point in the season, this one might mean something. It might not mean anything. We got Jets and Condors. That's going to go a long way. Condors right there for their division, right there for their wild card spots. They're going to be looking to get some momentum, but he's got a very tough matchup against the Jets. And then you never know how those matchups play out just a couple of weeks down the road. Do you show your whole hand because you want to secure a playoff spot, or do you hold a couple of things back just in case you've got to play those teams? I find that just such a key matchup in how owners sort of approach those games and come at it. Titans Chiefs, that could go a long way in deciding who's in here. Again, Penguins not really having the team that he wants to have to compete. I think he's a season away, but Luke is going to need a victory in this one. Any other game? Desperados and Steelers. This could be a really nice matchup. Lions, Buccaneers. Lions are going to need some victories. He's going to have to prove himself against really good teams. Kevin and the Buccaneers are going to be one of those really good teams. And talk about two guys who don't want to show anything to anyone. 49ers and Cowboys. They may both just start all backups just to let the game decide who wins this one. Both of them are going to be pretty secure in their playoffs. Maybe some seeding things there that they're wanting to fight for. I have no clue what's going to happen. Injuries could go a long way, could change the deciding factor of how this season completely plays out. But really, how do you approach this game? How do you play this game? That's going to be such a fun matchup to watch. Panthers and Chargers could be a really good one. Panthers, again, finding momentum. Now, by the time we get to week number 16, we're going to know way more about Bird and the Panthers. Black Cats looks to continue to build upon a really great season that he's already had here. All right, let's turn this one over to Mr. Denbrew with the OMFL news, And when we come back, we're going to reveal the first power rankings of season 109. Mr. Denbrew, take it away.
Welcome back to the OMFL News. I am Denbrew. This is season 109. We are in week, and we got the playoffs right around the corner. Over in the AFC, the Jets, Dolphins, Condors, Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Desperados, Steelers, Chargers, all in the hunt. All at 7-5 or better. Last time I looked anyway. NFC, Niners, Seahawks, those two just played. Looked like it was a barn burner, 29-28. Niners out on top. Niners, Seahawks, Bucks, Commanders, Falcons, Giants, Panthers, all trying to finish strong for the playoff push. But you got to mention the NFC North. You've got two, not one, but two 5-7 teams battling it out for the division lead. And then you got that 4-8 sneaky team trying to get in there and represent the NFC North in the playoffs. I don't think anybody really wants to win that division. All four teams, if you look at them, they all give up more points than they score. It's typically not a good recipe for wins. Would you agree with that? That's what I'm thinking. All right, stay tuned. Segment 2, back to Nate, flying solo. Press Pass Live.
Can something sound pretty? It always sounds pretty wherever he's at, wherever he's recording these in his closet, hiding from his boss in his car. It just sounds like he's like on a golf course. The birds are chirping. You got some like traffic in the background. I don't know where you are doing this at, Mr. Denbrew, but it sounds very pretty. I don't know if it is or isn't. Thanks, Denbrew, for the OMFL News. We got one more segment with Denbrew, but let's go ahead and talk about some power rankings. Before we get to our surprise, we're going to look at kind of the biggest shocks, good and bad. I picked a team on each side. We're going to talk about those. But first, let's do the OMFL Power Rankings. It's going to be my first of this entire Madden season. Of course, our vertical friends, you guys cannot see this right now, but that's okay. We'll get it figured out. Well, you just jump on the other screen and you can see this one. Okay, let's talk power rankings. Let's get out of the way first. Let's get over here and talk power rankings. My team coming up at number 5, we've already talked a lot about today. It's a team that has built what I feel like could be one of the most unstoppable offenses, and I can't quite put my finger on what has kept him from making serious runs at the AFC. And that's going to be our guy Massimo and the Miami Dolphins. Hitchison is just capable of being the top-rated guy here in the OMFL. He's got it all. He's got the arm. He's got the accuracy. He's got the speed. He can literally do it all, and Massimo does. He puts up tons of points. He feels pretty unstoppable when he's on a roll and he's clicking with his play calling. He's one of the toughest coaches to sort of game plan and to think about, like, how am I going to actually approach this guy? But for some reason, work, personal, this Madden cycle, whatever it is, it has kept him from really being a team that is consistently there at the very, very end. But right now, he is red hot. He's got his quarterback, his running game. The defense is playing good ball. He has got these Miami Dolphins being a force to be reckoned with coming in at number 5. When we get to the rest of these, let me first say, a lot of teams could have been number 5. I changed it 3 or 4 times before I finally settled on the Miami Dolphins. There's probably a clump of 4 or 5 teams there that you could easily consider being one of the top teams in the top 5 here in the OMFL. But when we get to the top 4, not going to be a lot of surprising names here. It's going to be pretty consistent names that we've seen this entire cycle, and nothing I think is going to shock anyone. Coming in at number 4, it's going to be our guy Meek and the Seattle Seahawks. Talk about quarterbacks. What he has done with his quarterback out of LSU, I'm slipping his name right this second, but he has just very quietly built another offense that as soon as you step on the field, he's going to attack you from every angle. He's going to attack you at every level. Running back, fullback, tight end, deep threat wide receivers. He'll put that ball up. He'll play action you. You want to slow it down? grind it out. He'll just grind you out with that running game. He can literally do it absolutely all. And I think finding that consistency in his play calling has just elevated his game this entire cycle. And talk about defense. He is one of the best defensive play callers that we have ever had here in the OMFL. Easily top 15, top 20 all-time defensive coach. And in this cycle, top 5, top 3 defensive coach. He has kept offensive powerhouses to a supreme low in points scored this season. And I'm really interested to see what he does, especially as he matches up against a red hot Dallas Cowboys team. That offense is putting up tons of points. Just hung 53 on the Arizona Cardinals. So what does Meek do whenever he faces that team? It's going to be a really fun matchup. Coming in at number 3 is his buddy. Should I say venture to say mentor? I don't know if he's his mentor, but it's his buddy, Kobe and the Jets. Kobe is like a lot of these teams this cycle, this entire Madden career here in the OMFL, and that is the model of consistency. Really great defense. He's going to play solid defense. Great play caller. Everything that I've said about the Seattle Seahawks, you could kind of copy and paste in the New York Jets outside of quarterback. You've sort of had to build a quarterback a little bit longer than what the Seahawks did. The Seahawks sort of had that Madden-generated guy with good bones. The Jets have sort of had to build that from the ground up. But Kobe's going to put pressure on you every time he snaps the ball on offense and defense, causes timely blitzes. He's going to force you into complicated throws, complicated routes. He's going to force you into making mistakes. This is why Kobe is always there at the end. He's always pushing for an OMFL bowl, and we're going to see him, if he stays here, win many, many more OMFL titles. Top 2, we've seen him. We've done this. Rinse and repeat from years before. Number 2, you got to give it to D-Money and the San Francisco 49ers, especially out of this big victory against the Seattle Seahawks. Meek on the road against Meek, against that quarterback, against that defense. He comes out with a 3-point victory. We've seen both of these guys trade punches. Seahawks getting the big victory early in this season against the 49ers. Made us all go, whoa, wait a second. Seahawks are for real this season. You're going to have to take note, NFC. I still think you got to keep note on the Seattle Seahawks, but you can't just snuff a nose up to what a one-loss 49ers team has done. He is just playing outstanding football, as always. D-Money feels like a Madden savant. I've always sort of asked him, I probably could ask that to most of the guys on this list, like, why do you even play here? This can't be fun. You can't enjoy this. Why don't you go play Madden competitively, make some money on the side doing that? Because D-Money is just an outstanding play caller. He knows how to put pressure on you. I haven't played him this cycle. I think we play a little later. That ain't going to be fun, but plays safety, forces you into tough throws, makes plays all day long. And then my number 1 team, I've talked so much about him. I need to claim him as the dependent on my taxes, Dwayne and the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, the absolute model of consistency, him and D-Money, right? For many, many years. We're talking 6, 7, 8 years that they've literally been here in the OMFL. Multiple seasons. More seasons than I can sit here and try to remember or count. D-Money is there again. Not D-Money, sorry, Dwayne. What has been the speed bump for Dwayne has been offensive showings in the playoffs. And in a couple of his games, as we've seen, he's had that 1, 2 small hiccups that have kept him from being just short of getting to another bowl game. This could be the year, though. This offense is putting up points galore. He's got the good running game. He's got a quarterback that, hey, you covered it all up. You're playing zone. I'm going to shoot up the middle. I'm going to take off to the right side. Like, Dwayne is just a smart play caller. He's got that one read mentality, and he's off and running. 1, 2 reads, and bam, bam. He's making good decisions. It's just tough to force him into bad decisions that cause turnovers that give you sort of the leg up. He puts it on the other way. 3rd and long, he's going to play a defensive end. 1st and 2nd down, he's shutting you down with that fast, strong middle linebacker. Like, just puts so much pressure. He's going to go over the top with the speedster. Oh, you got to punt it? Well, I'll probably have a punt return or two for a touchdown on you. Better kick it out of bounds on the kickoffs as well. Just every level of his team, he's got them clicking, and he's playing really good football. And that is a look at my power rankings. I want you to tell me down in the comments right now. I see Kevin. Nobody's here vertically, but that's okay. I want you to tell me in the comments what would be your top 5. Bengals are right there. Buccaneers are right there. Those are 2 teams specifically that I had wrote into the number 5 and kind of went back and forth just trying to mix it up because I can't argue with my top 4. I think you're making a hard case to argue this top 4. Maybe 3 and 4, maybe 1 and 2. You want to make some arguments, but I feel the top 4 feels really secure. That 5 through 8 team, I feel you could just sort of flip a coin between all of those teams and take a look at them. All right, that's a look at the OMFL power rankings, my commish power rankings. And now it's time to talk about some surprise teams here. Actually, I think I want to go back there. Let's go back. Okay, surprise teams that we can look at here in week number, what are we on? Week number 13, currently in week number 13. What are teams up to week number 13 that have been a surprise? And I want to start out with the first team that I would have to say is, I don't have a great word, a bad surprise. I don't know if it's bad. It's just like, it's a surprise from the negative point of view because this is not something that I thought I would see, and that is our Arizona Cardinals and Coach Joker. Joker's got a lot going on in real life right now, and I think that is starting to show up in his gameplay. This is a guy that has a solid quarterback in Henry, a really good pass catcher, a really good running back, plays great defense, puts pressure on the quarterback. I know we had some small adjustments that sort of took him away from playing his premier position of defensive tackle, but the guy still calls an amazing game. And to see his team struggling right now, where they are in this point of the season, is not something I expected. We're talking about a team that was right there of being able to be in the NFC Championship game. And now this year, unless he gets on a hot streak here, is probably going to fall short of the playoffs. Now, he could go on a hot streak, but I think this is more telling of sort of his own personal real life things that are going on right now that's keeping him from playing his best football. Austin Henry, the 61% is good. The 21 sacks is okay. That's probably going to fall somewhere of average of the league, but the 28 interceptions is going to be what hurts here. Great yardage, great touchdowns, but you can't turn the ball over 28 times and expect to win here. Wilkinson having a pretty decent season. Burton having a really good season for a rookie, 5.4 yards per carry. 4.6, though, for Wilkinson is nothing to sort of snuff your nose at. Like, only 135 attempts, though, is the part that's more eye-catching. You expect that number to be closer to 210, 220 for this team. He has shared some of those carries here with Burton. Burton's having a really good season, but I'd like to see Wilkinson get going a little bit early, a little bit more consistent this season. Another one, big eye catcher, is Dwayne Little. This is his big guy, 6'2", 219. His big playability, it's taken a way back seat this year to Covington, who's got 55 for 1,100. That's great. Only 5 touchdowns on the season. Brown, 40 for 7 touchdowns. That's a pretty good season. Little, though, is the eye catcher to me. I would expect him to be the leading receiver, the guy that's out front leading this receiving corps in catches and touchdowns and big play ability. Curtis is doing his thing, though. This guy's going to make the Pro Bowl again. 106 tackles on the season, 7 tackles for loss. His sack leader is Hayward. Maybe we're seeing some of the repercussions of not being able to play defensive tackle, not seeing a big sack leader here. Maybe that's hurt some of the defense, and not even seeing a big interception leader here that also is hurting his team. But this is a team that sort of really has caught my eye as a team that I expected to have a much better season. They're going to have to get on a hot streak, though, if they're going to make the playoffs this year. Looking at the chat real quick before we get to my top one, Dakota D. Wayne says D-Money number... Stop. Did you just keep yourself out of the top? Stop. You're a one-loss team who's just hammering folks right now. Almost had to call the cops on you last week. You didn't even put your... I can't take you serious. You're not going to put yourself in the top 5. But he said D-Money, number 1, Kobe, number 2, Meek, number 3, Denbrew, number 4, and Massimo, number 5. Kevin knocking on the door at number 6. So that would put you 7 or 8. Stop! I can't take you serious with that. A record in a... Oh, I record in a sketchy parking lot. I think I seen the LC there. Yeah, that's funny. Maniac said Cowboys 1, Bengals 2, Seahawks 3. D-Money? A one-loss team down at 4? Oh, you're fooling yourself. Desperados at number 5. Denbrew says D-Money, number 1, Kobe 2, Dwayne 3, Meek 4, Massimo number 5. Kobe has 6 for me, Mr. Maniac said. I can dig any team in San Diego. Yeah, I kind of dig the Desperados too. Sorry, though, he's not our top 5. There's a couple other teams I would put in front of him. Okay, let's get to my big surprise of the season in a positive light. I got to go over to Kansas City and our guy, Mr. Luka. If I can spell and get over to the Chiefs, Luka having a really good season. And I'm just like, Luka's one of those guys in those leagues, like LC and the Desperados, like Black Hats and the Chargers. I'm going to leave somebody out that you just pull for. My guy Lost, whenever Lost is winning. Roger, right? Like, I'm pulling for these guys because you want to see them win. You want to see them get it clicking. You want to see them get it going. And it's good to see Luka getting some good victories here. Patrick Mahomes, 3,300 yards, 17 touchdowns, but what I like even more, only 9 interceptions, 74% completion percentage, and only 13 sacks given up in 12 games. That's really good football. He's got a really shared sort of running game here from Grant for 180, 4.1 yards per carry. Winters, 6'11", 4.7 yards per carry. Harden, 666. That's a terrible number. 12 touchdowns, though, for both of those top guys, 4.1 yards per carry. His receiving threat, he can do it. This kid's right here. Just it makes you want to pull your hair out if you have any. 47 for 654 and 3 touchdowns. Rice, that's probably not a name that we all want to see right now. Dexter Clinton getting it done with 7 touchdowns on the season. And then looking at his defense, he's got some playmakers over here. You can look at his tackles for loss. Monroe, Pierman getting it done. His sack leader, not a ton of guys, but sort of evenly spread out between the middle linebackers, the outside linebackers. You want to see his defensive line, though, get more involved. His first defensive lineman only got 1 sack. That's a bit of a shocker, and I think that's going to really show itself as we get closer to the playoffs. A lot of interception leaders here, though. Davis with 4, McDuffie with 3, Bolton with 2, Monroe with 2. Monroe sort of his overall big-time playmaker, 69 tackles, 6 for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. This middle linebacker is really getting it done out of Tennessee. Kansas City Chiefs, though, are finding ways to get victories, and he needs to continue to pile those away because he's fighting a really tough AFC over there with some really good owners. And these last 4-5 weeks here as we come to the end of the season are going to be very telling about where these teams end up. And let's turn it over for Mr. Denbrew for OMFL News number 2 before we open up the OMFL mailbag. Mr. Denbrew, take it away. No, that's not what I'm doing. What am I doing? Oh, this is what I'm doing. Sorry, I hit the wrong buttons.
I'm back. Segment 2. Let's talk scheduling in the OMFL. A little friendly reminder to how we schedule in the OMFL. In case you don't know, when we advance, usually
this feels real personal. Just throwing that out there.
The notification in there says, hey, we're in another week. We've advanced. You got 24 hours at that point to contact your opponent. And there is nothing that says you can't go ahead and contact your opponent before we advance. Get a little jump on exchanging your availability. Say, look, I'm open these days, these times, and let's get after it. Then we have the 36-hour mark. At that point, we are expecting you to post your game. You have 24 hours to contact and 36 hours to post and 72 hours to play it. It's not that tough, but I get it. We all have things that take away from our availability. We got jobs. Some of us have families. We all have families. We got some guys that work
Pretty sure we all have jobs too. Maybe.
some crazy schedules. We got guys that are on call. They get called into work or whatever. We got different time zones to deal with. It's a lot, and I get it. So do your part to communicate. Do your part to post your game times, and I'll do my part, and I'll post everybody's schedule so that way the whole league knows what's going on. It just helps out, and it's super appreciated to those of you that are. I mean, everybody gets held up every once in a while. I don't want to seem like something that happens. Shit happens, right? Everybody gets held up every now and then, but
Kiss your wife with that mouth?
do a little bit better and post your stuff. And thank you to the folks that are always communicating and posting your stuff. It is much appreciated. And it's not just by me, it's by the other people in the league that appreciate it. All right, Brews and Booze. Let's end on a high note here. So let's crack one open for baseball. Baseball is back. Opening day was awesome. I'm a Reds fan. They pulled out the opening day win. They ended up winning 2 of 3 from a very bad Nationals team. I'll take it. Should have been a sweep, but I'll take it. And then let's crack another one open for March Madness. Some great games on the men's side and the women's side. We got some different names in the Final Four with Alabama in there, NC State's in there, Purdue, and can anyone beat UConn? UConn is looking like a juggernaut. Would they start the second half of their most recent game with a 30-0 run? That's insanity. All right, ending on a positive note. No booze for the week. That is all I have. Back to Nate and back to Press Pass Live.
I feel like everybody got one big boo. That's it. No individual boos handed out. Just one big boo. Also, in the chat, let me know, are you interested in the NCAA tournament? I never am unless my team's in it. I just am. Whatever. I'm not interested. Outside of football, I'm not really interested in anyone unless my team's in it. I mean, I may watch some, but anyway. Let's get over to the OMFL mailbag. So we'll get over here before we come back. Well, that's not supposed to be there. Clearly, I have not used this in a while. I kind of like that though. Cool. All right, you stay over there. What happens if I do this? Yes. Okay, that's how that's supposed to work. All right, let's get back to what I was sitting here doing. Who wins the NFC North? What will their record be? That comes from our guy, Tim. Let me go ahead and mark this as an accepted question. Tim, I already got it pulled up. Vikings at 5-7, Lions at 5-7, Mounties at 4-8. Can you imagine being 4-8 and still having an opportunity to win your division? This is back to the division that nobody wants to win. NFC North. I need you to get it together. You are making us look bad because of our guy Trey leaving and this whole division falling apart. I'm going to need y'all to get with it. Packers, need you to get with it. Rebuild that team. Get to winning again. Mounties, you got a better team here. Let's see you pile these victories up. Tim, you got your team. I'm sorry. I love you, Tim. The best team on paper that anyone could have. That's the one that Trey gave you with the Lions. And then Minnesota Vikings, I feel like he's right there. I really do. Maybe he's a piece or two away, but he's got the quarterback now. He just lost a tough game against me this week. I really expect them to win. Who wins this division? Oh, I don't know. Tell me in the chat, who do you think wins it? I want to say Lions just because of the team. Feels like he was handed a Ferrari and racing against a couple of Chevrolets. It's like you should win that, even on accident. But he given up 316 points on defense. The Mounties aren't scoring points. The Vikings aren't scoring points. He and I talked about that a little bit. I don't know, man. This is a tough call. Give me the Vikings. I just like their quarterback. And I just don't know that Tim and the Lions can win a division giving up 316 points. It's just way too much on defense. But I hate to tell you, North, somebody might get arrested for what they're going to do to y'all in the playoffs. And I want you to prove me wrong, okay? This is coming from a guy who sucks this cycle. I couldn't win in a fight against a ghost right now. Get it together, though, and prepare yourselves. Show me something to get ready for the playoffs, because that might be an ugly one. And what would the record be? Whatever the 8-win record is. Whatever, is it 8-9, I think? Oh, that feels ugly to say, but what we got? 3, 4, 5 weeks? Somebody here would need to win 3 out of the next 5 weeks? I don't know. Yeah. So, Tim Brew, who's your kryptonite? Who is the one current owner or former owner that just gives you fits? Maniac, I know that you're driving or riding, one or the other, so you'll have to let me know since you're not here to give me this one. I've said this time and time again. There were 3 guys that on paper, I felt like I should be better. Overall records, I have a better overall record. Not that I'm anything special, but going into a game, that's sort of how you look at how guys normally play. And all 3 gave me fits, if not outright just beat me. Now, there are other dudes you can put on this list. You could put a D-Money, who I think I've beat twice in my whole Madden career. We've been together a long time. We could put Kevin on that list. We could put Bird on that list. Now that Bird's here, he just gives me fits. We could put Dwayne, who I've beat like 3 times my whole career. I'm leaving some Kobe, when Kobe used to be at the Falcons. Maniac, I just can't seem to figure Maniac. Like, there's a lot of dudes on that list, especially this cycle. Lots of dudes. But these 3 come to mind because for me, I always go into those games thinking if I just play my game, they're going to turn it over. I'm going to play my game. I should win this. Priest and the Packers, who we played this year and struggled with, he almost came back. He always comes back on me. If I ever get out to a big lead, he always comes back against me. Tim, usually with the Rams, but now he's here. Lions and Mounties, I played him both. Beat me once, hammered me, even though I felt like he abused some stuff that game. You lucky Tim. I didn't have a chance to go back and watch that film. Just life got in the way. And Outlaw, who's no longer here. Every stinking time I played Outlaw, I felt like he beat me. And it just would drive me insane. Tell me who yours would be. If you had to pick 1 or 2, who would yours be down in the chat? You're one guy here in the OMFL that just absolutely gave you fits. All right, let's get back over here and get back to these questions. Shock says, who's tougher to play? The person that will grind out games, get 4 or 5 yards of carry, and play mistake-free, or the guy that loves slinging it all over the yard, give you a chance at turnovers? That's tough because I feel like that could go either way, right? Like I could go either sort of direction when we think about those 2 types of styles. But I think the guy that gives me the most fits are the dudes that just don't make mistakes on offense. Because if you make a mistake on offense, you feel like you get some momentum behind you. You feel like you can get in your own sort of rhythm. It changes up their rhythm. But the Dwaynes, the Maniacs, the Denbrews, and these are guys I see in the chat, so they're just coming to mind. The Meeks, D-Monies, the top of the top, they just don't turn the ball over. And if they don't turn the ball over, you can't beat them. You're not going to grind somebody like that and not get any turnovers and beat them. It's never going to happen. Even if you play mistake-free football. To both of you, to go into those games with the top dogs and not turn the ball over, both of you, and now you got to keep pace, or you got to stay sort of committed to the grind, it just feels impossible. And I think the guys who take away one aspect of your game, force you into the other, and then play defense to take that away just feel impossible. And as long as they don't make mistakes, it feel like you can't beat them. Shocks number 2, what is the one thing that most or all OMFL owners don't do that you wish they did? Can be anything from gameplay to league content. It's always going to be elite content. I wish guys would stream more. I'm so happy this cycle more guys have streamed than I think I've ever seen. Maniac, I know, is trying to get his thing going. We've seen Shocks, you've got it going. We've got Bronco Man. He's not on camera, but he's on voice. Kobe on voice. Nipples, sort of wish he wasn't on voice. There's a couple guys that you wish weren't on voice, but they are sometimes, and they say things that you're like, oh, I wish you didn't say that. And content, I just love content, whether it's the highlight videos, whether it's photos, whatever, just like content, anything that engages you. If I had to pick gameplay, the one thing that I wish I see more often, real forcible mixing up of calls, both offense and defense. I feel like there are some owners here, and even some top owners, that sort of like float. It's not even fair to say float. Like, they just don't cross the line and break in FPR. And they are strategic, but they're strategic through the lens of like what works this Madden. And I can't say that that's wrong. Everybody's going to, just some guys figure it out quicker. And some guys like me are just like way too stubborn to figure it out. And we just like refuse to figure it out. And so we just won't figure it out, as I kind of make a change here. I feel like some owners have just figured it out, and they sort of do the things that work and call those plays more strategically than maybe some of me. Like, I just suck. I just can't figure out this game to save my life. So I wish there were more games like I had Maniac in that first or second week, when I think it was second week that we played this game against the Vikings just now. I've had games against Dwayne, right? They're just really fun, and you really have these strategic mixing up of plays instead of like, oh, 3rd and 17 on the right hash mark, I'm going to get a post out to the left. 1st and 10 from the 20, I'm going to get a drag. It's 3rd and they need a play, I'm going to get the tight end. Like, I just hate anytime I know what's coming and I can call it, even if I don't make the play, it's just like, we're not mixing it up against. We're not mixing it up enough, and those suck. It's 3rd and 12, and they need to make a play. They're playing the user defensive line, and they're blitzing me. Oh, look at that. It's just like, yeah, I hate when you know what's coming and you still can't do anything because Madden plays crappy or whatever it may be, and guys are like using that against you, or Madden doesn't award you. Like, again, I said it playing Kevin 2 advances ago. There were 2 plays for sure, maybe 3, where I knew where he was going. I was there to make a play, and Madden just said, nope, you're not getting the animation. And he caught the ball, and he beat me, right? He beat me by 3. It's just like, not that Kevin did anything wrong. But some owners know when to call plays, and then sometimes Madden awards them and not you. And I hate that kind of stuff. Hate is too strong of a word. I wish we more strategically, and that doesn't fit either. I think you all get what I'm trying to say. All right, over to Raj. Raj, I see you. I love you. I miss you. I got to check in on you. I'm just keeping my head slightly above water right now, trying to survive. Currently, it looks as though 2 divisions are pretty much locked in. The remaining 6 division leaders only have a 1 or 2 game lead over second place. Do you see any trap games coming for division leaders? Single loss could change the whole bracket. Let's get over here. Let's go look at them really fast. We've already talked about the NFC North. NFC West, that's going to come down to the wire. Seahawks have a brutal schedule. 49ers have a much easier schedule. It's going to be really, really tough. What's up, Quinn? What's up, KC? KC, the game is so animation-driven. It doesn't give you full control of your players. It's crap. This is the worst. I will argue it to the end of my life. This is the worst Madden. And I put it over the stupid Vision Cone Madden, which was the worst. But this one's even worse. Cowboys, this one's pretty much sewed up. This one's going to be a fun one. Panthers are finding their rhythm here. Falcons, He's a little OCD about this quarterback thing. That's not a word. ADHD. He's crazy. He needs medication about this quarterback thing. Just start the guy that's the best player. Get out of your head about it. And Buccaneers, he's got a tough schedule to wrap it up. That's just going to be fun to see who stays hot, who takes the lead. I think the Buccaneers are going to do it, but he's got some trip-up games coming up. We've already talked about the North. This one's going to be a fun one. Chargers need to get some victories here. Chiefs are looking to gain momentum. He's got both of these guys have really tough schedules coming down to the end. This one's going to be a really fun one. Jets have some tough owners coming over, and this is going to be tough, but the Jets have kind of shown they can handle the tough schedules. Dolphins have to show that they can out the Bills and our guy Big Hurt, who has had baseball sort of take over his life recently. If that calms down, he may be able to get plugged back in and make a run here. Condors have it sewed up. Bengals and Ravens, Desperados, Steelers, everybody's in it. This one could be a really fun division. I still think the Bengals are going to do it, but can Nipples sort of stay in there long enough? Can the Desperados get a wild card? Steelers, you can never count Cincy out. He can always win some really big games. So I think, there could be a couple of fun divisions with some trip-up games. I think the Seahawks and 49ers win, though. That's going to come down to just like strength of schedule. All right, last one for Roger, and then we'll get out of here. Second question, it's time to get serious about imports for next cycle. Do you have your guy ready, or looking to draft a guy in the upcoming drafts? Are you waiting till next year to get your import? I don't know. That's a great question. I think this is the time, the period where guys start to think about their import. For me personally, I have no clue. You would think it's the quarterback, but he's going to be on his third year of his contract. So have I been able to build him up? If not, I may go ahead and just grab one in that last draft. I have to at least take over a quarterback. With the other positions, I don't know that I have my dude. I'd love to bring Sears for another med cycle, but I'm going to have to pay him. I don't know if I can afford that contract. We'll have to look at that contract. I like the tight ends. I like the offensive line that I've drafted. That's probably the direction I'm going to go. Do I take 2 offensive linemen, forget about Sears, let him retire and not make the Hall of Fame, even though I think he has Hall of Fame potential? Take the quarterback and 2 offensive linemen. I don't know. So many opportunities there. What's up, Bronco man? Yeah, maybe not take him, but you should still play him. And if your idea is like, I'm trying to play a guy that I can build to take, well, then you might as well just take one this draft or the draft after or whatever. But anyway, I get your point. It makes sense. But you already paid Parker Colt. So if you weren't going to play him, you shouldn't have paid him this cycle. You should have let him walk or whatever. I don't think he's tradable with that contract. So we'll see. Yeah, cornerback depends. I think for me, I need to see the NFL draft before I really start to change my attention to like, who am I going to take with me? Guys, that's going to come to the end of the show. What have I been doing? I did an hour right on the dot, an hour and 1 minute right now, all by myself. So Maniac, we missed you. Safe travels. Guys, thanks for all the questions. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Make sure you like, subscribe, come be a part of the Grown Folks family. For our new friends that are part of the vertical streams, Grown Folks are a community of adult-based gaming communities. And so there's leagues and clans all in our community. The flagship is the OMFL, the one that we talked about today here on my pullover. I can't even think of what I call this, but sorry, Maniac's thing caught me off guard. World's longest, oldest online CFM started in 2001 as a Madden PC league. We've been going nonstop since then. Many different league kind of commissioners. I founded it. It's kind of went through many different hands since then, though. But I've been running it since the last 7-8 years, whatever it's been again. So we've got a great group of guys. If you're looking for a Madden league or you play shooters, you play with adults, you're 18 and over, come be a part of it. You can find all the Discord information in the description. Come be a part of our group. I love you. Take care of yourselves. I need a breather. We got church tonight, and it's going to be tons of fun. So I can't wait to go do that. I need to take a breather, though. Guys, I love you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Remember, take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Maybe tonight. We'll see how tonight goes. Either tonight or tomorrow. We're going to stream some PUBG or something. You get some shooters in here. Because finally, I want to buy Weekend Madden, and I need it. I hate this game. Somebody take me out of my misery.
Yeah.
Smash that like and subscribe.